Okay, this is my. What the heck does this say? It says Fisher Wavy, but if you drop the F at the beginning, it's Isher W, which is, for me, it means Isherwood. This is why I bought the hat. It's not Fisher Wavy for me, and that's what it says. But drop the F, you get Isher W, which is basically the start of the word Isherwood, which is Christopher Isherwood, the great author who wrote the play Cabaret, all about the pre-World War II, before the Nazis took over Germany, all about Berlin, and it was a wonderful place, full of freedom to go and have a great time. Life is a cabaret, and that's what it was all about. And then the backlash was the rise of Nazism, and it extinguished all the fun. Anyway, that's where it came from, Christopher Isherwood. He wrote a lot of different books, and he was very famous for working with a Swami, and they did a translation from ancient Sanskrit, which is a predecessor language to Hindu, or Hindi, and they did the Yogic Sutras of Patanjali, which is full of fascinating information about ancient India, and how long before the Buddhists were around in ancient India, they knew how to calm the mind. They knew all about the mind, far more than the average person today knows about, pop psychology. They knew far, far more back in those days, and you just have to read the Yogic Sutras. At first read, the problem is that it's still got a lot of Sanskrit words that you don't know what they are, so it's a lot of learning vocabulary of a foreign language. It's not an easy read, and even when you read it, it's not an easy read. Let's just leave it at that. But it is a fascinating thing if you're interested in studying how the ancients saw the mind and problems of the mind and what the mind could do, because Patanjali went off and talked about superpowers beyond, basically what the people in the Marvel Comics group, those comic characters, can do. That's what ancients in India talked about certain yogis being able to do. Those things were called the siddhis, Siddhi, and you can try and read Patanjali. Will you get siddhis from reading Patanjali? I don't think so, no. But if you're a scholar and you want to tackle a challenge that's, not your average pulp fiction, try Christopher Isherwood and Yogic Sutras of Patanjali. Or just rent Cabaret, and, there must be a movie version of it somewhere. Liza Minnelli singing her heart out. Okay, the shirt today is Quicksilver, and Quicksilver is basically another word for Mercury, and Mercury was Roman god of delivering messages. So this is all about delivering messages, and what does Mercury want me to tell you today? Oh, well, I started watching this old movie, Donnie, Darko, which you may have remembered. It's quite a long time ago, but 20 years ago. It's about parallel universes and time travel. This is also a very difficult movie, Donnie Darko. I started watching it again, and I decided to read the précis on the internet rather than watch the movie, because it's, I was getting tired. I wanted to have a nap. I didn't feel like watching the rest of the movie. But what I noticed was that Donnie Darko, who's this one at the top with the piercing eyes, Jake Gyllenhaal, his mother in the movie was played by Mary McDonnell, And strangely enough, I had a scene with Mary McDonnell in Battlestar Galactica many years ago, the remake. And it's the famous scene that I've told in previous lectures from time to time, where although when I watch the video on DVD, you can't see my face, but you can see the back of my head, and I know it's the back of my head because I was there. And it was a scene where Lieutenant Gaeta and myself operated the nuclear panel to launch nuclear missiles against the algae planet under the orders of Mary McDonnell as President Roslin and Admiral Adama, which was Edward James Olmos. So you can see them all in the shot, and I was so excited when I was picked to be the extra, to be working with all of these known actors. But I was very disappointed that when I watched the final cut, you can't see my face. So, but I knew I was there and I could see the back of my head. I was there for the scene, and I thought it was going to be in the shot, which is very exciting. Anyways, so I don't know her personally. I don't know any of those actors personally at all. It was just, I was doing extra work at the time in Vancouver, and I was a semi-regular extra on Battlestar Galactica, and there she was, there in Donnie Darko. So, what relevance does it have? Parallel universes, are they real? And time travel, is it possible? In the movie Donnie Darko, he goes to see his physics professor, who's played by Noah Weil, who was on ER many years ago. And the physics professor pulled out Stephen Hawking's book, one of his books, and in it, apparently, it talks about wormholes. And basically, Noah Weil's character said that you have your vehicle, perhaps a spaceship, and a wormhole. You can travel vast distances, and if you can get faster than the speed of light, he didn't really talk about how to get there. You can travel vast distances, and you can actually travel back in time. Now, this is always known as a fictional movie, but he did pull out Hawking's book, and I haven't read Hawking's book. I've got a huge reading list, and I can't keep up. But, apparently it's quoted from there. And as far as parallel universes, this is perhaps the many worlds theory of quantum physics. So you can go look up many worlds interpretation of quantum physics, and that's what they do say. There is many worlds, many versions of Earth, and the quick and easy way to think about it is every time a human makes a decision to go right or to go left, two worlds are created. One world where the human went left, and one world where the human went right. And if you figure there's 6 or 8 billion humans on the planet, plus all these other realms where there's these other kinds of beings, elementals and fairies that maybe you don't believe in, but it's quite possible. But even if you run with just the humans who can go right or left, 8 billion times every decision that they make during the day creates an unbelievable number of parallel universes. It was on the cover of one National Geographic many years ago. But anyway, you can look into the many worlds version, and they say parallel universes are real, which means there's multiple versions of you. One version went left, one version went right. And then 10 minutes later, another version of you went left, another version of you went right. So how many versions of you are there? I'm going to go with infinite numbers of you and infinite numbers of worlds as a shortcut, because I can't do the math. It's too many decisions are made day to day. Or I will give you the alternative theory that none of us makes a decision, and that everything that we do is, although it seems like we make a decision, it's not a decision. It is already, decision is made for you. the choice is made to go left or right. And you might think, well, I have to choose, but your chooser is a phony baloney thing. And in this version of the world, then there's only one script that's running for you, and each other individual being has got a script of what they're going to do here, there, and everywhere. I call this the script version of reality, where we're all on a script. And this came, perhaps it was inspired because, again, I was doing some research on ancient India, and there was one of these holy men of India who basically said that. They basically said that God decides everything. So, there is no free will among humans, although in ancient India they called this, and also in Buddhism, they call it Maya, Maya, which is illusion. And, I've got different books. I'm not going to go look them up. But the idea is that the illusion is so good that you actually believe that you are the ones that are choosing to do this and to do that. But I give you synchronicity in Carl Jung, and it maybe you don't experience synchronicity. I do, quite frequently. And it proves to me that there is intelligence at work running all of us. And if you don't experience synchronicity, perhaps you've heard of it, you can do your research on it. How do you promote synchronicity in your life? I'm going to tell you the same thing I tell you in many of my lectures. Meditate for at least an hour every day, each and every day. Meditate. Instead of going to the gym, I know people are taught, you need to get your exercise, you need to do your gym. It's actually better for you to meditate for the hour than it is to go to the gym. Who am I? No, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm just a person that meditates, and I see synchronicities. So if you really want to figure out what's going on in this world, going to the gym is not going to teach you anything. Maybe you'll have a very pretty body, but, everyone drops the body after 40, which is about 80 years. After about 80 years, your beautiful body drops dead. And I've seen pictures of people, when they're beautiful, when they're 25, gym bunnies or whatever, and, I see them again when they're 70, and, they don't have the same body. So, chasing physical perfection through the gym is not going to help you in the afterlife. You're not going to know anything at all about what's going to happen to you when you drop dead. And if you don't believe you're going to drop dead, then perhaps you've been reading my interesting author Leonard Orr or Bob Frizell, but I doubt it. I bet you believe that somewhere along the line you're going to drop dead in this body, and whether you're going to continue or not, what's going to happen to you after that is all a vast speculation, and you don't want to put your mind to it. You'd rather go to the gym for an hour and work up a sweat. But that is, if you believe that you're the chooser, you will choose, based on this information, either to meditate for an hour, or to go to the gym for an hour, or to find another hour somewhere else to do meditation and still go to the gym. In the end, if you want to see synchronicities, what you have to do is shut off your mind. What does that mean? Well, when you meditate, and if you get some good teaching on meditation, as I've said time and again, you will learn that you can watch the thoughts go by in your mind, and you can learn to stop identifying all these thoughts as being me. These are my thoughts, and my thoughts are me. Advanced meditators know that that's a foolish thing to say, because thoughts arise, and regardless of what you do, and is it like the air on my nose is my air? Well, If you take it away, I'm going to say you took away my air, but really, I mean, the air is all connected to the outside and everywhere, and kind of foolish to say, it's my air, except if you take away my little bit of air around my nose. But all I'm saying is, I mean, air is here, and, it's like those little seagulls, the greedy seagulls that say, mine, 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 mine. It's my air. It's kind of foolish for a human to claim all the air, and their city is mine. You're polluting my air. Sometimes they say that, and, it's true. People do pollute the air. But, in the way I'm looking at it, I'm saying, you're going to put yourself in a cube like the bubble boy and, keep all your air to yourself. No, you breathe out the air, and then somebody else, maybe the seagull, breathes the air. It's, it's the same air. So it's not really your air. And by the same token, the thoughts that come through your mind that you think, well, it's come specifically to me, so they're my thoughts. It's very simplistic, and some people say, well, you can choose your thoughts, and you can choose your thoughts. But, I mean, if you have a dream, do you, choose your dream? What's going to happen in your dream? Some people are very lucid, and apparently they can do that, but I don't do that. I'm in a dream state, and I watch what's going on in the dream. It's quite a great, like being in the middle of a movie, during the dream movie, and it's like that in real life. It's basically, here comes the car, there goes the car. Did I make the car come and go? No. But synchronicity is when you see meaningful coincidence. I was working with somebody last week. He told me that he was from the island of Guernsey, which is one of the Channel Islands off Great Britain, between Great Britain and France. It's very unusual. The first person I've met in my whole lifetime from that place. And later on, I was asking my father what book he was reading, and he said it was a book about Guernsey. That is a synchronicity. It's a meaningful coincidence. It's, well, statistically, I don't know. How would you guess that statistically? I think it's very difficult. But Dr. Young said it shows that we're connected. He called it the collective unconscious, that we're all connected by a collective unconscious. But I always say, David Bohm says it's the implicate, explicate universe. And you can read up David Bohm, B-O-H-M, on that. I've talked about him before. He's a physicist. So anyway, it's not like something I pulled out of a hat. So I didn't invent these terms, and I was certainly not the first one to see synchronicity. Dr. Young was dead, I think, before I was born. So it's not me. I'm just repeating things, being the messenger. What good is it to you to see synchronicities? It will prove to you that there's more going on here than a bunch of random humans doing chaotic events. And if you want to increase the frequency of coincidences in your life, meditation is really important. And that's about it. That's about it. Why doesn't it happen if you don't meditate? Well, I think you get too caught up in your thoughts to pay attention. And part of the thing about disidentifying with your whole mind is learning that, as I said before, and I didn't invent this, this is what the advanced teachers of meditation, who meditated long before I ever heard of the term, teach, is that what you learn is that you are awareness. You are aware of all the thoughts in the mind. You're aware of the body, so you're really the awareness of it all. And, wherever the thoughts come from, your so-called body that you seem to be associated with will speak the thoughts. And whether you choose them or not, you think you're choosing them, but I'm going to figure that it's more likely that the thoughts are chosen by some other item. Which means that, It's very simplistic terms. When we're children, we're taught, well, you are your body. Your body is what you are, and your body has a mind, and it's all one thing. But that's not what the ancient Egyptians believed. The ancient Egyptians believed that we were a number of beings, a conglomerate of beings put together. So the ancient Hawaiians believed that as well. They believed that we had a mother aspect, a child aspect, and father aspect, all within. I guess you could appeal to their idea of divinity, for the divinity in the end decided, which is basically saying God decides. So it's not you. But in the Maya of the ancient Hindus, Maya basically means the illusion of you being a separate being from everything else is very strong, and that's why people have got very strong egos. And egos, when I'm talking about it this way, is the idea that you are a physical individual being. And that is logical to a child to believe. It's what they're taught, and you basically seem to be in a body, so it's easy to go from there. You only have to go deep down the rabbit hole to find out it's not true. It's part of the Maya. The illusion is incredibly good. And if you go to Las Vegas, you've seen very good magicians, so it's not as if you haven't been fooled before by magic. Anyways, I've talked about this before, and what else did we want to talk about? I'm going to debate talking about anything else right now. Let's just call it there, and I've already gone way too long. 20 minutes is too long.